It was supposed to be a normal children's toy. That's what everyone said about the doll, based on Fofao. But when I was 9 years old, my cousin buried his in the backyard and refused to explain why. Years later, I finally found out. My cousin Rafael lived with his parents in a small yellow house at the edge of our neighborhood in São Paulo. The place always smelled like old rainwater and dust. Their television was always on too loud, and the hallways felt darker than they should have been, even during the day. Rafael was obsessed with the Fofao doll. Back then, almost every kid had one. Adults thought it looked funny and harmless, but children hated the thing. It had a swollen face, hollow eyes, and a grin that stretched too wide across its cheeks. Something about it looked unfinished, almost human, but wrong in ways you couldn't explain. Rafael carried his everywhere. At dinner, to school, even to the bathroom. He slept with it every night tucked under his arm like it was alive. At first, everything seemed normal. Then the small things started happening. One morning, Rafael woke up and found the doll sitting upright at the end of his bed. He swore he hadn't left it there. His mother laughed and told him he probably moved it in his sleep. The next night, he placed the doll on a chair across the room before going to bed. When he woke up, it was facing him. Not near him, not beside him. Facing him. Its stitched smile pointed directly toward the bed. Rafael stopped sleeping well after that. Dark circles formed under his eyes. He became quieter, nervous. He told me the doll moved a little every night. Not walking, not crawling, just different. Closer to the bedroom door, closer to his pillow, closer to him. I thought he was making it up, until I stayed over one weekend. I remember the exact night because a thunderstorm knocked out half the neighborhood's power. Rain hammered against the windows while tree branches scraped the roof like fingernails. We stayed awake, playing cards on his bedroom floor, while the Fofao doll sat on a shelf above the closet, watching us. At least that's how it felt. Around midnight, Rafael suddenly stopped talking. "What?" I asked. He stared at the shelf. "The head moved." I laughed nervously. "It didn't move." "Yes, it did." The room went silent. Even the storm outside seemed quieter. Then the power flickered. For 1 second, the room went completely dark. And when the lights came back, the doll was no longer on the shelf. I still remember the feeling that hit my stomach. Cold, heavy, wrong. We searched the room in silence until Rafael slowly pointed under the bed. I crouched down with a flashlight. The doll was there, lying on its side, facing outward, like it had been waiting for us to look. Rafael grabbed it immediately and shoved it into the closet before locking the door. Neither of us slept that night, but that wasn't the worst part. The whispering started a week later. At first, Rafael thought it was the television downstairs. A faint rasping sound late at night, too quiet to understand. But every single night at exactly 2:17 a.m., the whispers returned, always from inside his room, sometimes near the closet, sometimes beside the bed, sometimes directly behind him. "Come closer. Open me. Let me out." His parents blamed horror movies, stress, an overactive imagination. But Rafael started changing. He stopped going outside, stopped answering calls, stopped sleeping entirely. His mother once found him standing motionless in the hallway at night, staring into darkness, with the doll pressed tightly against his chest. When she asked what he was doing,
Mom,
he whispered,
it doesn't like
when I
left
leave it
alone."
alone.
What
That
do you
was when
mean?
his father finally got rid of it, or tried to. He locked the doll inside a garbage bag and threw it into a dumpster across town. The next morning, Rafael woke up screaming. The doll was back on the chair beside his bed, still wet from the rain, its plastic face smeared with dirt. His father burned the garbage bag after that. Then he drove the doll far outside the city and dumped it near an abandoned road. 3 days later, someone knocked on their front door at 2:17 a.m. Raphael's father answered it. Nobody was there. Only the doll, sitting perfectly upright on the porch, smiling. That was the first time I ever saw an adult look genuinely afraid. After that, things became worse very quickly. Raphael claimed the doll talked when nobody else was around. Not with its mouth, not aloud, inside his head. It told him things, private things, secrets, fears, thoughts nobody else should have known. He began covering mirrors in the house because he said the doll moved inside reflections before it moved in real life. One afternoon, I visited unexpectedly and found every mirror in his room hidden beneath blankets.